And a very warm welcome to the University of Strathclyde this morning here at the magnificent Barony Hall for what is going to be an excellent ceremony, and we certainly have a full house today. And for those of you who have been visiting Glasgow for the first time, I should say this is a very typical weather that we're experiencing, in fact unseasonably cool for this time of the year, but do put up with us. We have quite a number of graduands, as they are currently, soon to become graduates, that we will work through today from physics and Strathclyde Institute for Pharmacy and Biomedical Sciences. But on these special occasions, we usually get some real treats. And today you have an additional couple of features that you can enjoy. So before the ceremony starts, and I'll officially have us open in a moment, we'll be conferring an honorary degree on an outstanding scientist about whom you'll hear something shortly, Sir Peter Knight, who is with me immediately on the left, a great friend and a great friend to the institution, and a man who's achieved a great deal with enormous impact for the UK and internationally. And post the graduation of our students, which is the highlight for the family and friends, of course, we will be awarding the Alumna of the Year to Debbie Crosbie from the Clydesdale Bank, one of our graduates, one of our alum, and someone that has had a wonderful career and has a great many years ahead of her in terms of the rest of her career, but we want to recognise her contribution to finance and banking. So quite a treat this morning. We should have you out by about 7:30 tonight at that rate. But nonetheless, please do enjoy the ceremony. And with that, I will formally declare this congregation open and invite Professor Erling Riis, the head of the Department in Physics, to introduce our graduate.
Principal and Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you Professor Sir Peter Knight. We have in front of us a true pioneer of modern theoretical atomic physics and quantum optics. Over the course of his career, Sir Peter has published more than 400 articles in international journals and has become one of the most highly cited quantum mathematicians in the world. He's also, more than anyone, been the one who's united and led a research field in the UK spanning the fundamentals of quantum physics to the applied works supporting a growing photonics industry. Many of us at Strathclyde, myself included, owe a great gratitude to Sir Peter for his inspiration as a scientist and an international ambassador for the optics, and for his determined effort to represent our research field at the political level. I first got to know Peter in his role as coordinator of what was then the SERC Nonlinear Optics Initiative in the early 1990s. His work back then to support the UK quantum optics community was probably a contributing factor to me ending up here. More recently, his impact has extended further through his leadership in establishing a UK quantum technology initiative. Without necessarily appreciating it, we use quantum physics every time we use a piece of electronics, switch on the TV, pick up a phone, search the internet, etc. However, so far, we do not use anything like the full power of the weird and subtle nature of quantum physics. The harnessing of this and translation into a whole new industry is Peter's vision for the next stage, which so far has received approximately £300 million of UK government funding. This is an initiative that aligns particularly well with Strathclyde's research activities and desire to create impact, and we have done very well out of it. Related to this is also Peter's role at the National Physical Laboratory, where it was he who originally got us started on the journey that has now led to Strathclyde playing a leading role in the operation of this national laboratory. Peter received his doctorate degree at the University of Sussex back in the early 1970s. He tells me that he was originally an experimentalist, but somehow life in the lab wasn't kind to him, and he became a theorist. Personally, I think that was a great move. Had Peter been as successful in experimental physics as he has been in theory, experimental quantum optics would have been a daunting discipline to enter for the rest of us. He soon joined Joe Epperly, one of the theoretical leaders in quantum optics at the University of Rochester, and after various personal fellowships, he ended up at Imperial College in 1979, where he progressed through the ranks to now being an emeritus professor. He is also a former head of the Department of Physics, principal of the Faculty of Natural Sciences, and deputy rector for research, where he was responsible for the college's research strategy. Sir Peter is a past president of the Optical Society of America, and he was for 7 years a member of their board of directors. He was president of the Institute of Physics from 2011 to 13 and made an honorary fellow in 2014. He's won a number of prizes and awards, including the Thomas Young Medal and the Glazebrook Medal of the Institute of Physics, the Ives Medal of the Optical Society of America, and the Royal Medal of the Royal Society. He was elected a Fellow of the Royal Society in 1999 and knighted in the Queen's Birthday Honours List in 2005 for his work in optical physics. Peter is by no means the kind of person who just retires to look after the grandchildren. He's currently Senior Fellow in Residence at the Cowley Royal Society International Centre at Churchley Hall, where he supports what's described as a new home of science, where scientists, technologists, and engineers can meet, discuss, and develop their work. He has in the past been Chief Scientific Advisor at the UK National Physical Laboratory and currently chairs their Quantum Metrology Institute and is a board member of the UK National Quantum Technology Initiative. He continues to advise the UK government on scientific matters. It's been an exceptionally fruitful experience for me to work with Sir Peter over the last quarter of a century. He's been a friend, a close ally, and a strong supporter of our activities at Strathclyde and the way we seek to bring the benefit of our work out to the wider world. It's with great pleasure, therefore, Principal and Vice-Chancellor, that with the authority of Senate, I ask you to confer upon Sir Peter Knight the degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa.
I create you Doctor of Science honoris causa, Peter. It's a great pleasure to invite you to the University of Strathclyde, and many congratulations. Well done.
So it's my chance to say a few words. Firstly, I'm so delighted to be here. I've collaborated with Strathclyde University, as Erling said, and the principal said, for many years. And it's always been a joy to be here and see the creativity and the inventiveness of what we see here in this great university. It's nice to see so many old friends here and colleagues. Let me say a little bit about how my career and Strathclyde have some parallels. John Anderson, in his will in 1796, insisted that he felt that it was necessary to have a place of useful learning. It's kind of odd that he, as a professor of natural philosophy in the other place across the city, didn't think that his alma mater did that. But we're delighted that that vision turned into the University of Strathclyde. A place to pursue new knowledge, impart it to the next generation, and to apply it for the common good, to address major global challenges and to create new technology. Now, those kinds of vision statements about what a university should do drive Strathclyde. Curiously, it also drives Imperial College, where I've spent most of my working life. There are parallels. Imperial College is a kind of younger sister of Strathclyde. You had a Royal College of Science and Technology. We were founded as a Royal College of Science in London, rather a long time after you were. We were not founded until 1845. So we're your junior sister, but we share this common aspiration that not only should we do great science, but that science should be applied to change the world we live in. Science is really something that should be fundamental to the way we live our lives. It creates the new economy. The science budget, which sounds a lot of money, 5-6 billion per annum spend, it's not a spend, it's an investment. It creates the new economy. Now, who's going to create that new economy but you as our new graduates? The new graduates have been given the tools by the University of Strathclyde to help change our world. So let's focus on your subjects, the new graduates. Life scientists, biologists, physicists. What can you do and what will you do? Well, of course, life sciences is one of the great successes of the UK economy. Pharmaceuticals play an enormous role in generating employment, wealth, and conquering disease and relieving suffering. It's a fantastic achievement of the British scientific enterprise that this translation from life sciences and fundamental biology into that kind of discovery has been transformational. Now, how about physics? One of the things that is worth stressing about Strathclyde is you undertake a spectrum of activities, from the fundamental right through to technology-changing developments, and in particular in photonics. The University of Strathclyde is a world leader in photonics. It has the Institute of Photonics and the Fraunhofer. Why is it important to the UK? Because photonics contributes, rather unexpectedly perhaps to some, a greater proportion of the UK GDP than pharmaceuticals. That's kind of unknown to many people, and the activities of folks here in Strathclyde have led to the creation of companies and employment, and it contributes of the order of 85,000 jobs around the UK, has enabled us to do so much more in terms of advanced manufacturing. The iPhone that many of you have, and hope they're on silent, is manufactured with at least 18 different sorts of lasers, many of which were developed here in Scotland and very much by alumni of this university. So, this university has given you your chance. It's equipped you with the tools that this great university has given to work out ways in which you, as our new graduates, can help us change the world for the better, to make sure that we stay a knowledge-driven economy with the kind of insights that you've been given in this great university to play your role. I'm very conscious of the honour that I'm given here at Strathclyde. It's been a wonderful opportunity to meet everybody here again, old friends, and to be able to articulate my view that what you're doing here in Strathclyde is of enormous importance to us. Thank you.
Principal and Vice-Chancellor, in the name of the University and by the authority of Senate, I present to you these students. For the degree of Doctor of Engineering in Photonics, Joseph Andrew Tom. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy for Research in the Department of Physics, Amy Jane McLachlan. Niall David Simpson. For research in the Strathclyde Institute of Pharmacy and Biomedical Sciences, Noor Zihana binti Abdul Rahman. Jenny May Crow. Kelly Ann Etherson. Rona Jane Galloway. Thomas Harwood. Jana Katarina Hiltner. Laura Hutchison. Laura Kate Jeffrey. Noor Khalida Kamal. Ala Abbas Kashmiri. Stephen Robert Katcher. Sajjad Ali Khan. Felicity Elspeth Lum. Nicola Louise McGinley. Shakwan Khalid Morlud. Miria Pudge. Louise Ritchie. Kirsty Ann Robb. Robert John Slack. For the degree of Master of Research in Drug Delivery Systems, Stephen Amoa Nyako. In Drug Discovery, Hazel June Ramage. For the degree of Master of Science in Advanced Physics, David George McClellan. In Nanoscience, Christopher Murray. For the degree of Master of Physics in Physics, Matthew Brown. Andrew John Farrell. Ross Johnson. Gemma King. Craig Scott Murdoch. Adam Michael Ross. Scott James Thomas. Samuel Anderson. Alan Ian Brown. Nick Bruce. Matteo de Melas. Martin Alexander Hunter. Jonathan Jarrett. Stephen Lennox. Gregor McDowell. Stacey Nicole Mitchell. David Newton. Philip Doyle. Anthony James Howley. In physics with specialization in complex systems, Matthias Weissen. In physics with specialization in nanoscience, Elaine Katrina Adair. In physics with specialization in photonics, James Denholm. Mark James Carmichael. In physics with specialization in quantum optics, Leon Chan. Benjamin Allen Ross. Karen Wallace. For the degree of Master in Science in Biochemistry, Ross Joseph Kerr. Colin Sloan. In immunology, Rhiannon Williams. In pharmacology, Lindsay Ann Benny. Jennifer D'Alessandro. Kieran Docherty. Ozamo Diamen Okangboa. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Physics, Ryan Brebner. Haley Carroll. Zoe Eleanor Davidson. Jennifer Ann Evans. Samantha Hume. Ryan Fraser Patrick Mitchell. Andrew Patterson. Jan Schnitte. Jan Tatsi. Syed Ali Sinan Amjad. Nathan Dalgleish. Craig Doris. Ryan Healy. Luke Kavanagh. Lee McCann. Jamie Mackle. Jack Martin. David Donald Matheson. Kieran Mitchell. Carolyn Sarah O'Dwyer. Andrew Samuel Phillips. Nicholas Quinn. Heather Simmons. Ryan Spears. Scott Donald Whiteside. Anna White. Samuel Robert Beattie. Sean Joseph Dagan. Michael Gates. James Gill. Thomas Edward Healy. Emma Jane Henderson. Lee Jardin. Jonathan Louis. Stacey Leanne McDevitt. Amy Kathleen McKelvey. Gwen Morris. Callum Reynolds. Callum Ian Runciman. Andrew Smith. Riis Ferguson. Connor Wasson. Callum Kirkpatrick. Andrew Monaghan Thomas. In physics with teaching, Joanne Bailey. Nicole Slavin. Nikki Toll. Hannah Marie Sutherland. In biochemistry and immunology, Elina Paduraru. Diana Onodelia Rios Schwed. Andrew Cox. Anthony Sean Duffy. Andrea Lovedale. Peter Smith. Rachel Burke. Daniel Grant. In biochemistry and microbiology, Mark Mackenzie Harris. Rebecca Elizabeth McHugh. Claudia Norco. Carolyn Pepper. Jennifer Nicole Ray. Anthony Patrick Starkey. Stephen John Ballantyne. In biochemistry and pharmacology, Callum Hugh Ferguson Hunter. Lauren Elizabeth Roger. Stuart McEwen. Morgan Mackenzie. Helen Malley. Simone Lindsay Melrose. Peter James Miller. Scott James Mitchell. Callum Andrew Baxter. Claire Friel. Paula Shei Ogadembe. Darren Walker. Safia Ali. In immunology and microbiology, Laura Elizabeth Kennedy. Ellis Beltrami Monaghan. Ryan Craig Houston. Alexander Sebastian McIntyre. Graham Mark Steele. Julia Margaret Stubbins. Rebecca Lee Toner. Yi K. Hazel Young. Holly Crook. Kirsty Mary McLean. In immunology and pharmacology, Simon David Fisher. Olivia Hannah Louise Davison. Jennifer Ann Dixon. Sophie Jane Dunlop. Ben Johnston. Megan McPherson. Dale Morgan. Frances Seehuffer. Sinead Cahill. Aurelia Gerunskate. Claire Hoy. Rachel Lisa Wilson. Lindsay McKerns. In biomedical science, Louise Claire Bann. Robin Campbell. Jordana McGee. Nicole Susan Daly. Katrina Gilmore. Nikita Hoyve Grover. Stephanie Hickey. Victoria Jardin. Cocken Kea. Roshanak Kianpur. Brian Lafferty. Emma Jane Daly McElhinney. Christina McAvoy. Charlene McKechnie. Murray James McPherson. Cameron Gareth Patterson. Craig Alexander Ian Polonis. Maria Salim Rana. Ryan Liam Shearer. Caroline Mary Summers. Namerta Bhopal. Robin Dawson. Claire Duffy. Scott David Hocklin. Jed Lennox. Aliyah Anber Shafiq. Jade Slavin. In forensic biology, Emma Heddleston. Kaylee McLeish. Nicole Tony Widowson. Gordon Williamson. Alistair David John Barr. Sarah Louise Duffy. Luke McGill. Stephanie McGill. Jennifer Mackes. Abigail Sarah Miller. Rebecca Jane Orr. Alan Daniel Outram. In biological sciences, Alexia Ash D'Souza. Teal Akara Hunt Richards.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, wonderful celebrations, and thanks for joining in the process. It always brings even more life to the hall. As we conclude the graduation process, as I mentioned at the start of the graduation, we're now going to have another special part of this day, and I will now invite Professor Eleanor from the Hunter Centre for Entrepreneurship to introduce our Alumna of the Year. Please.
Principal and Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour to present to you Debbie Crosbie. Graduates, friends, families and colleagues, I'm delighted to introduce you all to Debbie. Today, we are celebrating the class of 2016. This is your day. Many congratulations to all of you and to your families. You've earned your degree and the right to stand proud as a graduate of the University of Strathclyde. You now join a strong family of over 150,000 alumni, and as you take your next steps in your personal development and your careers, you can continue to put useful learning into practice by contributing economically and socially. The University of Strathclyde is rightly proud of the achievements of its alumni, and each year we celebrate the outstanding achievements of our alumni through our alumnus, or, as in the case today, our Alumna of the Year award. This special award is one of the ways in which Strathclyde recognises and celebrates the outstanding contributions which its alumni make to their chosen field in the UK and overseas. Recipients of this award are inspired individuals and role models for Strathclyde students, alumni, staff and the wider community. This is particularly true in the case of today's recipient, Debbie Crosbie. The award recognises Debbie's outstanding contributions to financial services and is recognition of the groundbreaking achievements which Debbie has made across the banking sector and throughout the Scottish economy more widely. Particularly in this year of innovation, architecture and design, this award is recognition too of Debbie's innovative attitude and behaviour and the contributions she had made across the banking sector. Debbie is joined today by her husband Craig, daughter Charlotte, her mother Sylvia and her partner Ray. I'm pleased to warmly welcome you and hope you really enjoy your day. You've got lots to be proud of. Debbie Crosbie graduated from Strathclyde in 1991 with an honours degree in industrial relations. Following a spell with the Prudential Assurance Company, Debbie joined the Clydesdale Bank in 1997. She soon started to specialise in IT, and by 2004, she was responsible for the governance and management of the bank's IT investment in the UK, including quality assurance, risk and security. In 2008, Debbie was appointed Chief Information Officer, and in this role, she was instrumental in unifying the different infrastructure and operating systems of both Clydesdale and Yorkshire banks. No easy task, I am sure. However, Debbie rose to the challenge and indeed was so effective in this role that in 2011, her responsibilities were expanded to include oversight for payments, collections and recoveries, as well as all back-office processing for the bank. In 2014, Debbie joined the boards of Clydesdale Bank and National Australia Group Europe as an Executive Director, and in January 2015, Debbie was appointed to her current position as Chief Operating Officer. In the short period since then, Debbie has really made her mark on the bank. In February 2015, Debbie became Acting Chief Executive Officer and took charge of the UK business just as it started to plan its separation from the National Australia Bank. Even after the new permanent CEO took up his post, Debbie maintained her involvement in the demerger project. She met investors and analysts in Australia and Europe to promote the merits of a standalone Clydesdale bank. In February of this year, Clydesdale Bank became an independent UK company again and completed its initial public offering. Debbie was there when the company successfully listed on the London Stock Exchange, where its shares have risen by 50% in just 4 months. The bank is now poised to enter the FTSE 250. Debbie made history when she became the first female executive to sign Scottish banknotes. I'm lucky to have one here in my hand today. Strong evidence indeed of the contributions which Debbie has so far made to the banking sector and more widely to the achievements of women in business. Away from banking, Debbie served as a non-executive director of the Scottish Court Service for 3 years, during which time she was also chair of their audit committee. Debbie has also provided evidence to the UK Parliament's inquiry into women in the workplace, and she is a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Bankers. Over her career, Debbie has displayed ambition, boldness and innovation, important values which are shared by the University of Strathclyde, and values which today's class of 2016 are encouraged to embrace and to demonstrate throughout your careers. It is with great pleasure, therefore, Principal and Vice-Chancellor, that I ask you to present the Alumna of the Year Award to Debbie Crosbie.
Debbie, many congratulations on becoming our Alumna of the Year. You are a role model, of course, for our colleagues in the business school, but our scientists and our pharmacists and our physicists here can take a great deal of inspiration from your wonderful achievements. Wonderful to have you back here again, and we look forward to developing a relationship with you further. Ladies and gentlemen, Debbie.
Principal, Vice-Chancellor, Professor Shaw, graduates, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very honoured to receive this award today. I'm very grateful for Professor Hillier for nominating me for this award, and I'd just like to thank Professor Shaw for that very kind introduction. I feel very privileged to be joining the long list of previous winners, and if I'm honest, slightly surprised. As I reflect on the wealth of talent that the university has nurtured over many years and the contribution that it's made to sports, science, commerce and culture that its graduates have made, I don't consider my achievements to be particularly special. What I do recognise as special, however, is the grounding that my life and education in Glasgow has given me. Firstly, at school in Bearsden, and of course, secondly, here at this great University of Strathclyde. Whilst our exact place in the hierarchy remains a favourite for political debate, I still firmly believe that the Scottish education system is still the very best in the world. The reputation of our teaching and learning attracts students from far and wide, and our sense of community ensures the warmest welcome in our cities and on our campuses when students arrive here. Our quality of life encourages many to continue to live and work in Scotland beyond their graduation. And that is as true today as it was when I graduated now just about exactly 25 years ago to the day. In 1991, when I was sitting exactly where you are, I'm not sure I truly understood how special graduating was. At 21, I was a young graduate. I'm sure you're already thinking that. But the combined wisdom, support and encouragement of my family, every teacher, every tutor I've ever encountered, I realised that despite all of that, it was now up to me to make my own way. So very luckily, I soon joined the Clydesdale Bank, one of Scotland's oldest brands, and it was indeed a place where I'd opened my first bank account when I was only 14 years old. At 29, I was given the great honour to join their executive committee. If I'm honest, probably slightly out of my depth, but very keen to learn. As Eleanor has so kindly outlined, I've had the chance to do many different jobs in the bank, and I've been fortunate to work with many talented people. I've been involved in some very special projects. However, I realise only now how important the grounding that I received at this university was in every step of developing my career. So please, graduates, really enjoy today because you've got a fantastic start. But do have the confidence in your own ability to learn and develop. And in finishing, I would like to pass on one little known fact and give you a little piece of advice. As I said earlier, I opened my first bank account with Clydesdale Bank. I've been its Chief Information Officer, its Chief Executive Officer, and I'm on the board. And fantastic that I got the opportunity and privilege to be the First Lady to sign a banknote. However, as I finished university, I participated in the milk round process, and as you can imagine, I was very keen to join Clydesdale Bank. As a Glaswegian who'd opened my first bank account there, it was a clear favourite choice for me. I went through the process, and I went through a series of interviews, and I have to tell you, at the last hurdle, they rejected me. Now, fortunately, I did secure another job with Prudential Assurance, and the Clydesdale Bank very quickly saw the error of its ways and recruited me 5 years later. But the reason I tell you that story is because as young graduates, you now have a fantastic grounding and great opportunity, and everything is not going to go to plan. So you must take your great grounding, your stamina, your enthusiasm, and your great ambition, which I'm sure you have, and who knows where you could all be in 25 years. So finally, I'd just like to thank my family for their unwavering support and thank the university for this great honour. I wish you all the best.
Well, Debbie, thank you very much for that. And in the context of the science faculty, Debbie's last story reminds me of the Einstein quote that we only fail when we stop trying. And Debbie clearly kept that tenacious approach to building her career. I should also tell you, by way of confession, just to give you an idea of the straitened times that the university finances are these days, that £20 note that Professor Shaw showed you actually belongs to Debbie. I just felt I had to share that with you. But anyway, let us turn to matters importantly for today. And let me again, ladies and gentlemen, reiterate our welcome to all of you at this important ceremony. A day that none of you will forget. It marks the successful conclusion of many years of hard work. And you've now graduated in front of your proud family and friends. And you should have the satisfaction now that you're beginning the next stage of your lives equipped with an excellent education. And we've seen a great product of our education here in Debbie in her speech. And also you have a great student experience. And of course, now with a Strathclyde degree, you have a valued passport to your future career. And today we welcome visitors from all over the UK and indeed all over the world. And we're delighted to see each and every one of you here at today's celebrations. For me, as presiding officer, it's a great honour for me to perform the capping exercise. It's a simple but ancient ritual, rooted variously in China of some 2,000 years ago and in the Middle East, really marking the transition to adulthood from childhood. But today, of course, we mark your transition into the future of your career, whatever that may be. And for each of you, when I touched your head with the cap, it was a formal acknowledgement of your hard work. It recognised the days spent in the lecture theatres, in the laboratories, and the nights in the library, of course, and ultimately the passing of your examinations. That particular cap, incidentally, was a gift to the university just a couple of years ago from the Glasgow School of Art, who designed it and manufactured it for us in honour of our 50th anniversary of the award of our Royal Charter. And of course, as you finish your travails as students, Thomas Edison, the famous American inventor and industrialist, said that genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. And I'm sure in the Strathclyde students' case, those percentages might have just been a little better than that. But today, you've become Strathclyde alumni, and you're the latest of our torchbearers, like many generations of graduates before you. Strathclyde students are some of the UK's most highly sought after by the employers, including Rolls-Royce, Siemens, GSK, AstraZeneca, and many others from the business sector, from the public and academic sectors. And in a recent survey, Strathclyde was recognised in the top 5 UK universities, producing the highest numbers of chief executives. And with all this that you've now successfully come through, I know that you would agree that you couldn't have done this without the support and encouragement of your families and friends. And it's fitting that we acknowledge their part and contribution in the successful completion of your university studies. Our graduates, and indeed the university at large, owe them an enormous debt of gratitude. As the first in my own family to have gone to university, in fact here to Strathclyde in the Faculty of Engineering, I know exactly the importance of that support, and I'm sure that today's graduates and our university staff would like to take this opportunity to thank families, friends and supporters for all that they've done to make today possible. Thank you very much indeed. Sir Isaac Newton, the famous physicist, said, "If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants." And graduates, there is no doubt that your families and friends have provided their shoulders for you to stand on. And indeed, for our academic staff, this is also a very important day because your success is their reward. Strathclyde has worked very hard to provide you with a high-quality education and a first-class university experience for all of our students, regardless of background. So let me invite our new graduates before us and on the stage to join with me in thanking our staff for everything that they've done to support you in your journey and your achievements. Thank you. You should be aware now about your alma mater that we were founded in 1796. This is our 220th anniversary. And throughout our history, the University of Strathclyde has remained faithful to our founding principles. We were established, and I quote, for the benefit of all mankind. And it is also worthy of note that we were the only higher education institution established in Scotland during the exciting time of the Scottish Enlightenment, a real distinction for the University of Strathclyde. And we are now driving forward that modern strategy in the same exciting spirit, making it wholly relevant to the 21st century. As you heard from Sir Peter, our founder, Professor John Anderson, a physicist or natural philosopher as it would have been in those days, had strong links with Benjamin Franklin, the American inventor and academic. Indeed, Franklin was the founder, amongst others, of the University of Pennsylvania in 1751, using the motto, useful knowledge. And this directly influenced John Anderson. That, along with his friends, his challenging colleagues in the Enlightenment, resonated beautifully with that proposition, and from that was born our motto of useful learning. And never has this philosophy been so relevant as it was since our establishment now in the 21st century. And known by all of our staff, useful learning still defines our purpose as a leading international technological university. And of course, across our campus and in the buildings that you will have passed today on your way to the Barony Hall, our academics and students are developing drugs to diagnose and fight diseases and illnesses. And for example, we currently have 2 drugs en route to clinical trials, and one of our spin-outs, Myrinid, just this week has raised £4.5 million to fund the development of drugs to tackle degenerative kidney disease, cancer and inflammatory disease. Strathclyders are also producing energy technologies and policy solutions to tackle climate change and to establish a low-carbon economy. We are revolutionising global manufacturing and helping to create the 4th industrial revolution, the so-called Industry 4.0. Our students continue their work in Africa to establish water and power supplies and to deploy healthcare systems for remote communities. They are bringing prosthetic limb technologies to those in need in India, and many are working to inform public policy and national economic strategy. Importantly, they are providing people with opportunities to transform their lives and the lives of their families. And as I referenced earlier, we still attract many first-generation university students to Strathclyde. And finally, we are giving business and industry the tools that they need to be more innovative, to be more productive, to promote economic growth, and ultimately to help create jobs and provide us all with a quality of life that's more sustainable and healthy. And these are some of the reasons that we've had such a terrific sequence of independent recognition of what we do and how we do it. Over the past 4 years, we've won the Times Higher Education UK Research Project of the Year, the UK University of the Year, followed closely by becoming the UK Entrepreneurial University of the Year. And with regard to education, in the most recent Teaching Quality Assessment, we were delighted to receive the highest possible ratings for our teaching quality and methods. And this was acknowledgement of our commitment providing our students with the best education and experience. And some 18 months ago, the National UK Assessment of Research Quality, or the REF as we refer to it as, was published. And this happens every 5 or 6 years, and we were pleased with the results. They confirmed that Strathclyde has the #1 physics department in terms of research quality in the UK, #4 in pharmacy and biomedical sciences, and #4 in chemistry. A real wonderful achievement by the Faculty of Science, complemented by our engineering faculty, 7 of their 8 departments in the top 10, 3 in the top 3, and 4 #1 here in Scotland. And our business school, rising through the rankings for research intensity at #6, a wonderful achievement. And our humanities and social sciences follow suit in wonderful achievements from our government public policy department, #10 in the UK, #2 in Scotland, and the excellent results in law, social work and social policy and history. So real intensity, real focus about impact and useful learning. And we continue to demonstrate our disproportionate impacts, primarily through the production of you, our wonderful graduates and our postgraduates, but also in the quality of our research and the highly effective ways through which we create value and impact through the transfer of our knowledge through our industrial and public sector partnerships. And it is clear to me, and it should be clear on the evidence base that's available, that Scottish higher education is fulfilling an important role as a driver for sustainable economic growth, and Strathclyde has a very distinct and positive role in this national and international objective. Universities, as you heard from Peter earlier on, should be seen as a national investment. And with an annual Scottish Government investment of around £1.1 billion in higher education, the sector delivers back over £7 billion worth of value to the Scottish economy. In a recent independent review of Strathclyde, our university was expected alone to deliver additional economic value of around £1.5 billion to the Scottish economy over the next 5 years, one of the highest contributors in the sector. And we can see the activity that's going on. Just under a year ago, last July, we were delighted to welcome Her Majesty the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh to formally open our £100 million Technology and Innovation Centre. It sits down between George Street and Albion Street, and you may have seen the enormous building as you came here today. In there are over 700 academic staff and students working closely with industry on pharmaceutical manufacturing, applied photonics, plasma physics, space technology, future cities and informatics, energy technology and aerospace engineering. And in there also, we have companies based interacting through innovation mechanisms with our academics. Thomas Edison, that we referenced earlier, called his technical team and his laboratories his inventions factory. For sure, the Technology and Innovation Centre is becoming our innovations factory. And the achievements of the Faculty of Science gives me great confidence for the future. And let me give you just a small number of summarised headlines. You cannot have noticed or failed to notice the announcements around gravitational wave detection. And in the physics department, Dr. Nicholas Lockerbie was partner in the international research project detecting the existence of gravitational waves, confirming a major prediction of Albert Einstein's 1915 general theory of relativity. And for the first time, scientists observed the ripples in the fabric of space-time called gravitational waves. This is through the major project called Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory, or LIGO, being a large-scale physics experiment to detect these. I just came back from a business trip from Hong Kong yesterday, where I was there with a group of some 30 university presidents from around the world. And Tom Rosenbaum, who's the president of Caltech, where much of this work was seated, gave a presentation at the same session I was talking to. And he made positive reference to Strathclyde as a contributor to this world-impacting event. Also in physics, Professor Paul McKenna is working on activities that will have a major impact on advancing smaller, cheaper, laser-driven particle accelerators and their potential applications, effectively CERN on a tabletop. Research involving Professor Bob Bingham in physics found a novel way of creating intense optical tornadoes. There's an image for you, a discovery that could revolutionise the understanding of how matter behaves under extreme conditions. And of course, even physicists do useful things occasionally. I can say that as an electrical engineer. I always feel that physicists are wannabe electrical engineers. I don't know if I'm just showing a bias here. I think perhaps I am. But the physicists are looking at the modelling and prediction of rogue waves in oceans, which are capable of destroying ships. And that's been simulated by physicists here at Strathclyde, Christopher Gibson, Alison Yao, and Professor Gianluca Oppo. And they presented a mechanism for studying the formation of rogue waves using optical systems. Professor Ian Hunter of SIBS was among 7 leading scientists appointed to the Scottish Science Advisory Council, established to advise the Scottish Ministerial Group from the 1st of February, a very prestigious activity. And I thought long about sharing this one with you, given it's just before lunch, but I should tell you that foam made by tiny frogs could be used to deliver antibiotics to help prevent infections. And that work involved Dr. Paul Hoskisson, Sarah Brosio and Dimitru Lamprou driving that research forward, analysing the foam from what are Tungara frogs, native to Central America and Caribbean islands, finding that that was very highly stable and capable of taking up drugs and releasing them at a stable rate. Wonderful lateral thinking to come up with these ideas. One of our students, Joe Zhu in SIBS, was the winner in the creative thinking category of the Santander Big Ideas competition for her innovative idea about enhancing digital security, winning £3,500 for her rhythm tapping project. And last but not least, Professor Alistair Florence of the Strathclyde Institute for Pharmacy and Biomedical Sciences, who has led the growth of an outstanding research centre called the Centre for Continuous Manufacturing and Crystallisation, revolutionising the way in which medicines will be manufactured, produced, driving down cost, increasing efficiency, and working hand in glove with our partners from GSK, AstraZeneca, Novartis and Bayer Healthcare, to the extent that within our new TIC building, we host the UK National Centre for Pharmaceutical Manufacturing. So this is the context within which you should view your awards, graduates. Strathclyde is a place that puts students at the very heart of all that we do, that values education and research excellence, and that supports close connections with society at large and the business world. And of course, with regard to internationalisation, the very best universities in the world collaborate, contribute and compete on the international stage, and we are no different. Our institutional global partners include, for example, in the United States, Stanford, New York University and MIT. In China, we have close working relationships with Tsinghua and Peking universities, and the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, where I've been for the past few days. In Singapore, Nanyang Technological University and the National University of Singapore, and a raft of high-quality partnerships across Europe. Of course, the research is one thing, but our students benefit directly from being part of an international university, helping them emerge with the skills that Scotland needs to play its full part in the world. And they've also been exposed to cultures from all over the world, traditions, practices, and of course we attract students from over 100 countries. But most importantly, graduates, you leave here understanding your obligation as global citizens. However, as well as having an impact internationally, we also take our local responsibilities very seriously. Strathclyde has been a driver for an entity called the Glasgow Economic Leadership Board, which I have the privilege of chairing, seeking to rebuild Glasgow's strengths in key sectors, if you will, emulating the merchants and the innovators from the end of the 19th century to the beginning of the 20th century in life sciences, low-carbon energy, manufacturing, finance and business. And of course, we're driving now many of the activities that have led to the success of the Glasgow City deal, bringing £1.2 billion worth of investment in our wonderful city. And we also remain, and I say with some pride, the leading Scottish research-intensive university for widening access to our programmes for students from some of the most challenged communities in Scotland. These numbers are always important to me, so I can quote that this year alone we've attracted some 990 youngsters from those communities. And in this hall just last week, we had the 3rd annual graduation from the Children's University. And I'm the Chancellor of the Children's University, where we reach out to youngsters from communities around Glasgow where there's perhaps 2 generations of worklessness, where they've never attained much more than maybe 4th year education at school. But now we bring their families here to Strathclyde. Every youngster is given a learning passport. So if they go to the Kelvin Grove Art Gallery, they get a stamp. If they go to the Glasgow Science Centre, they get a stamp. If they go to night classes, they get another stamp till they fill that book, and then they become graduates of the Children's University. So just last week, I had 120 youngsters. Thankfully, for a change, they were about 3 foot tall, so I didn't quite get the same repetitive strain injury, coming across this stage in their robes with their mortar boards, their chests puffed up, their heads held high, with their mums and dads, most of them never having been across the threshold of a university before. That's what Strathclyde's about. Groundbreaking research, outstanding impact to society and economy, but with our doors wide open for those of talent that seek to be educated here in our university. So, let me conclude by characterising the University of Strathclyde in 2016. I would describe us as having ambition, focus and momentum, with the agility and commitment to the delivery of our strategy, so necessary to absorb the continuing challenges in our sector. It's a privilege for me to lead this fantastic institution with the superb support I get from the executive team, as well as our broader community of academic, professional services and support staff. And I believe strongly that our founder, John Anderson, would recognise clearly what we are doing today as the realisation of what he sought to establish during the Scottish Enlightenment. We seek here at Strathclyde in our modern society to be an agent for positive change here in Glasgow, in Scotland and the UK, and on the international scene. But most importantly, I am certain that today's graduates will have enormous impacts in society, and that 2016 can truly become a vintage year. So in that context, and as you leave the hall today, you'll leave not only with an award, but with a responsibility. Today's graduates now join an alumni number that is greater than 150,000 worldwide. So whatever you do with your degree, and wherever you choose to work, remember that as well as academic scholarship, useful learning also means applying your knowledge for the benefit of others, making a positive impact for yourselves and the communities that you belong to, respecting diversity, valuing freedom of expression and thought, and of course, particularly on this day as we go to the referendum booths, reaching conclusions and resolving disputes by reason. These characterise the core values of your university. And let me finally turn to today's celebration. We are all here to mark the achievements of those who have been awarded their degrees. So on behalf of the university, I would like to extend my sincere congratulations to each and every one of you and wish you every success in your future careers. Please stay in touch with us. Let us know about your progress, and we look forward to seeing you in the future. Well done, and please enjoy the rest of this very special day. Thank you. So that wasn't so bad after all, was it? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's always a great pleasure for the staff in these events. As I move to conclude the ceremony, I should tell you that we will process, the stage party and the students will process through the hall and go over to the Lord Todd Hall, which is about 100 yards off to the right as you leave. To families and friends and supporters, please join us. I think there are some refreshments waiting for us. We might be able to mingle in the gardens, where I look forward to meeting a few of you. So, ladies and gentlemen, I now declare this congregation closed, and please be standing. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.